Hey guys, I'm Danny. Welcome to another video of AperTrotter. Today we're actually be looking at something new here at the brand new Royal Alberta Museum. As you can tell, this beautiful plane behind me and this big beautiful facility. Fujifilm has actually loaned us out a brand new X-T3 with the grip and the 1855. Today we're actually going to put it through its paces and see what it can do. So I'm actually right here just lounging at the new children's exhibit here at the Royal Alberta Museum. And we're actually taking a look at this Fuji here. Brand new stuff on this new camera. You got a 26 megapixel backside illuminated sensor, pretty awesome. Processor speed's actually supposed to be 1.5 times quicker. So in terms of the ones and zeros and the communication between the lenses and to the camera, it's a lot quicker. Another thing is Fuji's actually implemented this and made it more of a hybrid kind of a video camera, stills and video camera. So you have their classic Eterna film simulation. On top of that, the new grip, you actually have 3 batteries in here. So the new grip they provided, I have 1 battery in the camera, 2 in the grip, and this is also USB Type-C charging, which is pretty incredible. So the new things about this camera also, 10-bit color, 4K 60, pretty snazzy stuff. And it's also got the new tilting screen here. Got the new 3-way tilt, so you can actually tilt it this way for portrait shooting, which is rather convenient. And it actually just tilts this way also. There you are. Snap it back. Click this. Beautiful. So, as mentioned before, this camera is actually, Fujifilm's actually been working really hard to make this a great hybrid video camera as well. As I mentioned already, there's 4K 60, there's also F-Log built into this as well. So you got a nice flat gray profile for color grading, as well as pretty good about 12 stops of dynamic range. On top of that, you also have Eterna film simulation, which is pretty sweet, as we'll show you as well. There's actually full HD slow motion built into it. You can get up to 5 times slow motion at about 120 frames per second. Cool. So something pretty interesting here at the RAM. This peacock mantis shrimp. This shrimp can actually butt through the glass here as well. It's like a shotgun. So I'm just going to test the continuous burst mode here as well. Alan's going to be running towards me. I'm actually using tracking here. It's actually tracking Alan very well. So mechatronic shutter, you can actually go 20 frames per second, 11 frames per second mechanical shutter. There's also a sport mode that you can do, which actually crops in a little bit. It's about a 1.18 or 1.25 crop, I believe. But that way you actually get 30 frames per second with the electronic shutter as well. So on top of this, the new sensor, you actually have a new autofocus system actually. It's got phase detect on top of the contrast detect actually built onto the sensor, which is why the tracking seems actually a lot better than, even the X-T2 was actually pretty good, but this one is a huge improvement over the last camera as well. Keeps up, pretty much tracks Alan just about all the way through as he was running towards me. On top of that, there's actually a touchscreen, so you can actually move the focus points around as you're going. You can tap and shoot as well. And the focus points actually cover just about almost the whole sensor, which is pretty neat. So inside the menu, you actually have the movie silent control, which is actually pretty sweet. Just go ahead and turn that on. And as you're filming, you can actually go through the menu and actually change different settings silently as well, without any of the clicky noises from the control dials and on the lens as well. So you actually change things like your ISO on the fly, shutter speed, your f-stop as well. Pretty neat stuff. It's all touchscreen. So a few things I should actually mention, this brand new camera, there's a lot of cool features built into it as well, especially customizable buttons. Even on the grip itself, there's actually a programmable function buttons as well, which is pretty neat. On top of that, there's a brand new manual focus assist if you're doing a little bit of filming and a movie as well. On top of the peaking, there's also actually the new focus prism that kind of actually looks like an old school film SLR as well as you're turning the focus. It's almost like a little split image as well, and you can actually merge them, which is pretty snazzy. And so this is actually focus peaking. As you can tell, everything in focus gets highlighted in yellow. Out of focus, in focus. Oops, longer exposure. There's also something called the digital microprism, similar to what I was talking about earlier, with the film, kind of like the old school SLRs. So you got that little prism there, and you pretty much just make the image clear. You can actually change the color too. So if you want monochrome, you can actually have monochrome in the prism, which is pretty sweet. There's actually a scale that tells you how far you're out as well at the bottom. And also we bring up the usability and all that other stuff. Right now we're in the human history section of the Royal Alberta Museum. As you can see, there's a lot of like historical pieces from across the province and as well as locally here in Edmonton as well. Another thing to mention, a lot of cultural influences here as well as a lot of Indigenous culture influence as well here. Really great thing to check out. Also, entrances is free for Indigenous and First Nations here at the Royal Alberta Museum. Video capabilities, F-Log. We also have Eterna film profile, 10-bit color. So just shooting experience so far, the ergonomics and the feel of the X-T3 is actually quite incredible. Even without this grip here, I'm just going to take this off as well. Very nice grip, actually very comfortable for my hand. My pinky's not actually hanging off, which is kind of neat actually. There's actually room for your thumb as well. Ergonomically fit and finish actually feels pretty good. Fairly lightweight as well, which is kind of a nice, which is a breath of fresh air if you're used to shooting full frame or medium format even, which is pretty sweet. Just from using this camera, just the newer base ISO, 160/200, people are getting a little bit better dynamic range at the base ISO. Low light performance, still very good as well for an APS-C, or even in comparison to full frame, actually quite up there actually. On top of that, the colors, the classic Fuji colors are there. Just the EVF is very bright and nice and clear as well. Even the frames per second, nice fast camera, new sensor, which is pretty incredible. Very good resolution, backside illuminated sensor, just amazing. The autofocus actually very customizable as well. Something that we should mention. You can actually fine tune the autofocus, especially for tracking or sports. Also the phase attack, quite incredible. Also, another thing to mention with the grip, actually, you can actually put two batteries in here, as I mentioned. But what I like about what Fuji has done is actually put actual function dials on here, as well as the joystick here, so I can actually shift around my focus. The X-T3 also features dual card slots, and both are actually UHS too, unlike certain manufacturers here as well, which is pretty neat. Just gonna show you guys the batteries. Two batteries in there, and I got one in the camera as well, which is pretty awesome. So So in terms of battery life, I'm actually not really afraid of running out. Being an APS-C camera is a very high-performing camera, very rugged, weather-sealed, pretty much rugged build quality. Performance is up there. In terms of image quality, just fantastic. On top of the video capabilities also is another thing we need to mention actually. I think 3 years ago, you probably never think of a Fuji as a professional video camera, but this is pretty much right up there with some of the top competitors on the market as well, which is pretty awesome. Only thing missing is probably the image stabilization in the body, but other than that, if you're a pro, most people are going to be using this on a gimbal anyways, and their lenses do offer optical image stabilization on some of the lenses, which is pretty awesome. So, in terms of, in light of basically all this news about full-frame mirrorless cameras, pretty much if you think sensor size is everything, Fuji also offers medium format, so you may as well go mortgage your house and get that then. Just in closing, who's this camera for really? I think this camera, this is actually a professional camera. It's well made, it's got the magnesium alloy housing, you got weather sealing as well. On top of that, Fuji has some incredible optics out there, weather sealed optics as well. Just amazing system here. In closing, I'm pretty sure this camera is just a Fuji's kind of FU to all those full frame mirrorless snobs out there as well. So good on you, Fuji.
There we go.
Awesome.
Now it's not like you get
so
lost.
this is pretty exclusive, eh? It's actually a pretty good dynamic range test too, basically. Wow. Well, that's another episode of AperTrotter, and we just want to thank the people here at the Royal Alberta Museum for kindly allowing us to tour their facility. And I just want to thank the guys at Fujifilm for lending us the X-T3, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook.